Aaron Rodgers and the Giants' ambitious pursuit. The NFL offseason is always filled with twists, surprises, and big decisions, and the 2025 offseason is proving to be no exception. One of the most significant developments revolves around Aaron Rodgers, the four-time MVP and one of the most decorated quarterbacks in the league's history. After a challenging 2024 season with the New York Jets, where things fell apart both on and off the field, Rodgers now finds himself as a free agent, a status that has set the NFL world buzzing. And perhaps most intriguingly, the New York Giants appear to be the frontrunners to sign the veteran quarterback, with rumors suggesting they have offered the biggest contract in an effort to secure his services. This potential blockbuster move is one that could change the entire landscape of the NFC, as the Giants are in desperate need of a franchise quarterback after the departure of Daniel Jones. Following an underwhelming season with Jones and inconsistent play at the position, the Giants made it clear that they were in the market for a proven winner. Rodgers, despite being in the twilight of his career, still commands immense respect and would bring a wealth of experience to a Giants team that has been hovering around mediocrity for the past few years. However, the decision is not just about money for Rodgers, according to reports from insiders like ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. For a player like Rodgers, who is nearing the end of his career, the primary motivator appears to be the ability to win now. The Giants, despite their struggles, offer a unique opportunity for Rodgers to play in a major market with a team that has solid talent on both sides of the ball. Rodgers would have an opportunity to join an organization with a storied history, in one of the largest markets in sports, under a regime that has made it clear they are committed to surrounding him with talent. The Giants, under general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll, have been aggressively working to improve the roster in the offseason. They have focused on shoring up the offensive line and are exploring potential options in the receiving corps to give Rodgers the weapons he needs. The Giants' offer reportedly includes significant guarantees, making it the most lucrative offer on the table for the veteran quarterback. From the perspective of Rodgers, the allure of playing in New York, this time for the Giants, is tantalizing. After all, he is coming off a season with the Jets where expectations were sky-high, but injuries derailed the campaign. Despite the frustrations of 2024, Rodgers still showed flashes of brilliance, demonstrating that he can still perform at an elite level. Pairing him with Saquon Barkley, one of the most dynamic running backs in the NFL, and a budding receiving corps could turn the Giants into legitimate contenders in the NFC. Yet, despite the apparent momentum toward Rodgers joining the Giants, there are other teams lurking in the background, most notably the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have also been in contact with Rodgers' camp, and while their offer is reportedly not as financially competitive as the Giants, the allure of playing for one of the league's most stable and successful franchises might be appealing. Rodgers has often spoken about his admiration for the Steelers organization, and playing for a team with a championship pedigree is certainly something he would consider. Nevertheless, the Giants remain the favorites to land Rodgers due to their aggressive pursuit and the massive contract they are willing to offer. At the same time, questions remain about whether Rodgers would truly be the missing piece for the Giants. The team has been inconsistent in recent years, and while they have a promising young core, adding a player like Rodgers would place enormous expectations on their shoulders. The pressure to win immediately would be immense, and any missteps could lead to scrutiny, particularly in a media market as intense as New York. Furthermore, Rodgers himself will have to navigate the balance between the desire to win now and the realities of joining a team that still has some gaps to fill on both sides of the ball. The Giants, however, are banking on Rodgers being the solution to their quarterback woes. For a team that has struggled to find consistent quarterback play since Eli Manning's retirement, the idea of bringing in a future Hall of Famer like Rodgers could energize the fanbase and provide the team with the leadership and skill set needed to compete in a highly competitive NFC. While nothing is set in stone, and Rodgers is still reportedly weighing his options, the New York Giants appear to be all in on landing the veteran quarterback and making a serious run in the 2025 season. As the dominoes continue to fall, the NFL world watches with bated breath. The decision Aaron Rodgers makes could have a ripple effect across the league, impacting not just the Giants but also other quarterback-needy teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings. Rodgers' legacy is already cemented as one of the greatest to ever play the game, but his next move will determine whether he has one last run at a Super Bowl title before his illustrious career comes to a close. Russell Wilson's free agency journey. While much of the focus this offseason has been on Aaron Rodgers, another veteran quarterback is also navigating free agency: Russell Wilson. After a tumultuous end to his time in Denver, Wilson is now on the open market, and two teams, the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants, appear to be his most likely landing spots. Wilson's situation, however, is complicated by the fact that he is seen as the backup plan for both teams, with his fate largely dependent on whether Rodgers decides to join the Giants. Wilson's career arc is a fascinating one. After a stellar start in Seattle that included 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 championship, Wilson's production began to decline. His trade to Denver was supposed to rejuvenate his career, but instead it resulted in 2 disappointing seasons filled with injuries and inconsistent play. Now, Wilson finds himself in a position where he must prove that he can still be a difference-maker at the quarterback position. The Cleveland Browns have been one of the more intriguing teams linked to Wilson. The Browns are coming off a season where they underachieved, largely due to poor quarterback play. Deshaun Watson's continued struggles have left the team in a precarious position, and the Browns front office has reportedly been exploring all options to improve the position. Wilson would be an immediate upgrade over Watson, bringing a veteran presence and proven leadership to a team that has the pieces to compete in the AFC. Wilson's visit to Cleveland was reportedly more of an exploratory meeting, with the Browns getting to know the quarterback and his representatives. While no formal offer was made, there is mutual interest between the two sides. The challenge for Cleveland is that Wilson appears to be a second option, with the Browns also exploring other potential quarterback solutions, including the possibility of signing a bridge quarterback like Carson Wentz or drafting a future franchise player. Nevertheless, the fit between Wilson and the Browns is intriguing, especially considering the offensive weapons Cleveland has at its disposal, including Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb. What the future holds for Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. The 2025 offseason has thrust 2 legendary quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, into the free agency spotlight, and their respective futures remain uncertain as they weigh their options. Both players are at different stages of their careers, with varying motivations and pressures influencing their next moves. For Aaron Rodgers, the decision is clear. He wants one more shot at a Super Bowl, and the New York Giants may offer the best opportunity to achieve that goal. On the other hand, Russell Wilson is in a more precarious situation, trying to resurrect his career after a few underwhelming seasons and prove he can still lead a team to victory. For Aaron Rodgers, the rumors of the Giants offering him the biggest contract of the offseason highlight how much New York is banking on him to revitalize their franchise. Rodgers, even at 41 years old, is still seen as a quarterback capable of leading a team deep into the playoffs. The Giants have built a strong case around their ability to provide Rodgers with the tools he needs to succeed, particularly with a strong running game led by Saquon Barkley and an offensive line that has made significant improvements. While the financial aspect is certainly enticing, Rodgers has always been a player who places a premium on team culture and fit. The Giants, under Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, have shown a commitment to fostering a winning environment, which may sway Rodgers in their favor. However, Rodgers' future could also depend on whether he feels the Giants are truly ready to contend for a Super Bowl, or if they are simply a team on the rise that needs more time to develop. Rodgers' window to win is shrinking, and his decision will likely reflect his belief in the immediate readiness of the Giants' roster. At the same time, the specter of another team swooping in with an offer remains a possibility. The Pittsburgh Steelers, though considered a long shot, could make a late push to land Rodgers. The Steelers' allure lies in their consistent culture of winning and their ability to provide Rodgers with a strong defense and offensive weapons, but they may not have the financial flexibility to offer Rodgers the type of contract the Giants are willing to provide. For Russell Wilson, the Cleveland Browns have emerged as his most likely destination, but his situation is much murkier. Wilson's time in Denver came to an end in disappointing fashion, and now he must rebuild his career at a time when his options may be limited. The Browns, desperate for stability at quarterback, could offer Wilson a chance to lead a talented roster back into playoff contention. However, Wilson's position as a potential fallback option for both the Giants and the Browns puts him in a delicate situation. If Aaron Rodgers signs with New York, Wilson may find himself with limited options, as Cleveland continues to explore other quarterback possibilities. Wilson's next move will depend largely on how the quarterback carousel plays out. If the Browns miss out on other targets, Wilson could find himself in a position to revitalize his career with a team that has a strong foundation in place. The Browns boast a powerful running game, a solid defense, and an improved offensive line, all of which would support Wilson's strengths as a quarterback. However, Wilson will need to prove that he can still perform at a high level after a few injury-plagued seasons in Denver, and the pressure to succeed in Cleveland would be immense. Ultimately, both Rodgers and Wilson are in the twilight of their careers, and their decisions this offseason will likely shape the final chapters of their legacies. Rodgers has the opportunity to solidify his place as one of the all-time greats by leading the Giants to a Super Bowl, while Wilson is looking to prove that he can still be an elite quarterback and lead a team back into the playoffs. For both players, the stakes are high, and the next few weeks will reveal how the 2025 NFL season may unfold. As the NFL world watches closely, the decisions made by Rodgers and Wilson will undoubtedly have ripple effects throughout the league. Teams like the Giants, Browns, and Steelers are all waiting to see where these two future Hall of Famers will land, knowing that their arrival could alter the competitive landscape in significant ways. Whether it's Rodgers leading the Giants to glory or Wilson finding redemption in Cleveland, the 2025 season promises to be one filled with intrigue, drama, and the continued pursuit of greatness by two of the most accomplished quarterbacks in NFL history.